Sorry, it's time.
Everyone, this is our weekly live broadcast. A quick introduction before we start today. We have a special guest, which we don't often do because I'm terrible at planning these things. I'm Anne Smari. I have been an SEO for more than 20 years. I have seen it all. At this point, I'm the co founder of my own agency. Smarty Marketing. It's based in New York, and you can always check it out and schedule a quick call with me, which is not a sales call unless you want it to be one. With me today, and always, our director of social, April. She will be bringing up some questions from the audience, if there are any. And also, she is a very creative person, but not so much an SEO, so she can lead the conversation the way everyone can understand what we are saying. And finally, our special guest today, Sam Page. He is the head of SEO. Please introduce yourself. You have a great introduction, and you will do a much better job than me.
Oh, well, thanks, Ann. Happy to be here first. But yeah, I'm Sam Page. I'm the head of SEO, AI content, AEO at InMotion Hosting. So check us out if you need hosting. Previously, I was the director of SEO at Slack, and I was the global head of SEO at Amazon Business. And then before that, I was the senior program manager overseeing all of the hosting brands at Newfold Digital, which was also Endurance International, which that company is like HostGator, Bluehost, Web.com, and those brands. So yeah, I've been doing it doing SEO for like 20 years too. Got some gray in my beard from it. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here and try to answer the questions to the best of my knowledge.
Yes, and a quick announcement. Sam is also hosting an Ask Me Anything session in our subreddit. We already have a lot of great questions there, but feel free to ask yours as well and vote for your favorite questions for us to know which ones need more detailed answers. I hope my team will be sharing the link, or April, please feel free. Wherever we watch us from, you should be a link somewhere. If not, Google SEO for AI. You will find our subreddit, and that's how you will see the MAA to participate in. Those are great. This is our second one. Last week we hosted one with Lily Ray. She did a great job. No pressure, Sam.
Yeah,
Actually, that was a really good one for sure. We will be repurposing it into some guidelines or playbook for geo, or however you want to call it. I'm sure Sam will do just as great job at hosting one as well. And so ask your questions. This is your opportunity to get direct answers from someone who has been an SEO for 20 years, and not just an SEO for huge brands, global huge brands. So if anyone has any experience or experience in transitioning from SEO to SEO for AI, that would be Sam. Thank you so much, Sam, for doing all of that with us this week. Anyone who is interested in participating in our subreddit, host MAAs, join us here. There is a form highlighted in the highlights of our subreddit to apply, which is the one I'm using to plan these things out. And we have a great topic today. Actually, I couldn't wait for that to happen. Google actually taking action against listicles. Everyone in our industry, well, not everyone, but quite a few people in our industry are talking about that for a few weeks at least, because without any official announcement, am I right, Sam? Google is noticeably de-ranking or decreasing in rankings self-serving, low-quality promotional listicles that had been insane in our industry. Very hard not to be happy about that, because I did think I hate tactics like this. Everything that requires me to go get myself listed or awarded or reviewed somewhere, I've been staying away from all of that for as long as I could. So it's nice to see that tactic, hopefully, to go. And Sam, share your perspective on that, what you've been seeing. Are you as happy about this? Have you tried doing that? Here, there is no judgment. I personally try anything that works as long as it's my site, not the client's one. But I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of like important things that that are related to this update, and I am seeing the same thing you are. Listicles aren't completely gone, and there's some listicles that are certainly valuable. I think we may discuss the Will Reynolds LinkedIn thread, but you know, like Michelin is a listicle. Michelin Guide for Restaurants is a really valuable listicle, and it's still showing up just fine. But about a year ago, I remember it was really popular for companies to do a top 10 list or whatever and have their company rank number one, and then a bunch of like far-flung non-competitors really rounding out that list. And Google ate it up, and even ChatGPT and some AI LLMs were citing that quite often. I think more for in Google is more around the AI overviews getting mentioned there, and it worked really well. We saw some examples. I think ClickUp was also that example, but I've seen some just in my industry as well, in the hosting industry, that worked well. I tested it. You know, I didn't like say for my team, we need to go full on like every topic possible. You know, but it's not surprising to see that it doesn't work as well now, right? Like you and I, and have been in this long enough, we've seen these types of things come and go, whether it was hiding, hiding text in behind a div, or same matching the color, keyword stuffing, those
guest blogging.
Yeah. Blog exchange, link exchange, all of those things kind of like, they're almost too obvious, right? It's if you're, I always, from the beginning of my SEO career, I put myself in like, if I were an engineer at Google, what would I do about this? Like, is this something I can also filter out at scale? And these things are pretty easy to say. Like third party listicles are different for sure than like that first party mentioning themselves in there, and that's an easy parameter to put into an algorithm. So yeah, I mean, not surprising to see those go away. I think that there is some still performing pretty well out there in certain industries, and I think bigger brands I've seen getting by with it still a little bit more than you would expect, but
like they always do, unless Google start manually hitting those. There is no algorithmic way to do that, because the whole power of the site, brand, domain, however you want to call it, is helping them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more of that trust factor, right? Like, can we trust this company or not, right? But yeah, I think you also touched on a little bit, like, I would do this for my site, but not for like a big company. And I think it also is true for like small companies who are trying to break into an established niche. These kind of tactics do get them visibility, and it may be worth it, right? Like it may be worth it for the short-term risk that they can get established and run with it. And then once they're established, they can pivot to another more long-term strategy. So, but yeah, bigger companies with more to lose, it's not quite so.
Exactly. That's all about the risk management, because you have trust in Google, and it's a stubborn signal which will be taking you through many bad things that others are experiencing SEO. But once you lose the trust, it's almost impossible to rebuild. And we've seen a lot of huge brands actually going bankrupt once they lost, especially paid links, I think, were
paid links were big. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that was a few brands get, like, you also get that blowback of the bad PR from it too, right? Like, do you remember HubSpot? They got blown up for having the content farms, and they just got bad PR. And so that damaged their reputation just in the industry. So very tough to be a risky big brand.
Exactly, and trying, and we've seen a lot of things happening to big brands over the past year. One of the most noticeable one was site reputation abuse penalty that went wild as well. It is interesting to see how Google treats bigger brands, for sure. It's a manual penalty, but only for the section that is breaking something. So it's definitely a different attitude and different way of handling abuse, for sure. So I guess when you are considering shortcuts like this, there are a lot of things to think about. If you are a big brand, you definitely have a lot to lose in terms of reputation. If you are a smaller brand and you build something up using the shortcut, losing that is going to be painful as well. And we've been there. I think anyone who has been in the industry at least for 10 years have seen people, smaller brands growing on Google alone and then just vanishing when that traffic stopped coming. So and that is something also not many people realize. If you build something, it becomes very depending on the channel that you build it on. And when you lose it, there is no way to kind of deal with that unless losing the whole business. And being there, can definitely talk from my own experience here. So when you are building things, diversifying the channels, especially these days, one thing that I wanted to mention, and we just published a new research study on smart marketing, is inside our tech bubble, ChatGPT is almost like ready to replace Google, right? For consumers, it's not nearly that bad. They are still using Google and Amazon for buying decisions, and it's going to take years to change that. However, Google tries to force AI onto everyone. So when you are choosing between organic search visibility, risking that for the goal of being findable by LLMs, doesn't make sense in most industries because that discovery channel is not even there yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's still a small percentage of total searches being done, but it is growing. I have seen it start to taper off a bit for most. So maybe there's another step change required for adoption there. But yeah, it also depends on your market, right? If you're selling something highly technical, you're probably going to be more in the LLM focus. But for sure, I agree with all that you said there.
Software, for sure, probably like all geeky topics that people are likely, but not even ChatGPT. That's also they're probably going to use Claude at this point. So, and Claude is not searching that much; it's pulling from the training data. But my point is, while it is still being adopted, this is your chance to get ready and invest in actual long-term visibility instead of trying shortcuts to those answers, because shortcuts can cost you other channels like SEO channel that we've seen with that example as well. So it doesn't make sense in the hosting industry. How are LLMs beneficial for, do you see a lot of people asking LLMs which hosting company to choose?
Yeah, it's actually surprising how many people are finding us, or at least it's part of the journey of buyers. And I think especially on the larger hosting implementations like dedicated servers and maybe VPS, like a shared hosting customer still tends to go through Google. But yeah, I think it's again, it's reached a pretty good growth rate, and then it's kind of seems to have flattened off a bit. And there's probably some more more adoption to be had there, but it is interesting to see who actually is kind of coming through the ChatGPT LLM world, and it's more of like decision makers and more technical folks too, but like director level and above, they use the LLMs. Like, I think that, I mean, my guess would have been like director level and above folks were not as technical or not going to adopt LLMs like that. But from my experience, like even at my own companies I've worked at recently, they're very much involved in like LLM searches and looking at their visibility there too. So it makes sense that they would like use that to research and make purchases. So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's
Like playing with new shiny toys from our experience as well.
yeah, I think so. And I mean, yeah, most of the director level folks, when they see an opportunity too, they're like excited about it, right? So LLMs are an exciting, like you said, it's a shiny new tool or object. But that's great. You know, those are the people we want to get excited about it.
In your industry, what have you been seeing working for LLM visibility? I know Listicles definitely. I probably they still do comparisons versus articles like competitor-driven articles. Have you been playing with those?
I've been playing with those, yeah, like our product versus their product, and how many tables are on a page comparing those products, and we're kind of, I mean, I don't know how much to give away here, but we're definitely like implementing this in our own content prompts, right? So like, here's best practices, or here's some data indicating what gets more visibility, and when we're creating content, you know, we're using that as part of our prompt. But yeah, we see, you know, what I think is really the value play for us is using our subject matter experts and leveraging them for content creation and finding like zero MSV keywords, right? Like there's a lot of like value here. It's not about searching on SEMrush or Ahrefs and saying this is the high MSV keyword we don't rank for, let's go target it. It's not about that anymore for us. It's about what do we see, what are we doing on a daily basis, what are our customers asking about, and let's make content
it's
around
an
it.
Interesting trend that you are mentioning, by the way. A lot of people in the industry, including myself, are talking about those zero-click searches that are getting a lot of attention in the industry. It's a good trend, I think, because that forces you to kind of get real, talk to your customers, not in keywords, but basically what they want and what they are searching. And I forgot where I was going with this, but that was a very good point to make for sure. And definitely something also, long tails overall are getting a lot more attention. They've always been nice to have, but not necessarily success metric for most businesses for many, many years. And now it's always like an opportunity to generate traffic still from everywhere, because it's much lower at the sales funnel as well. When people use specific phrases, they almost always know what they want at that point, and so those AI answers they may just keep or even click, which doesn't happen often, by the way. What is do you know the number of percentage of traffic you are getting from LLMs? Have you been tracking that?
As a percentage of like all of our organic traffic, it's still pretty small. I would say 5%. Yeah. The attribution for this though is the question, right? Like how much are we attributing to is that just referral visits from LLMs? And if that's the case, yeah, it's pretty small. But also there's direct traffic impacts, there's brand search volume impacts, right? We're seeing improvements on those. And then also referral visits from Reddit, from YouTube, from those kind of mediums where we're very active and trying to build a solid presence. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot more attribution, kind of blank spots or like blind spots with LLMs. And I think this is also something important for folks who are in this industry who are reporting up to someone, like whether you're an agency reporting in or if you're an in-house person reporting up to C-suite, is like, hey, yeah, we're getting these LLM referrals, but we're also gaining in all of these other areas too. So there's lots of tangential traffic to be gained.
Yep. Are you using any AI visibility tracking solution?
Yeah. So we've tried a few different tools. We scoped out some of the popular ones. I'm sure you guys can list those off. But I've ultimately kind of just been skeptical and a little bit pessimistic on like what we were paying for. Some of them are very expensive, and you're more or less paying, I think, for the account management and getting insights from them. And the others I use daily are the Bing Webmaster tools or the Bing AI visibility tool. I really like that one. And I use SEMrush because it seems to be on par with the other tools I've checked. But it's all directional, right? And sampling is kind of an issue, and prompt tracking has its own set of issues as well, right? So it's a huge opportunity, I think, for someone who can do it the right way and try to get good visibility. But yeah, those are the tools I'm using now.
Is there even a right way at this point? I'm failing to see how they can do that the right way, because however you do it, there is no way to account for personalization, to model you are checking, to all of that. So it's all still very fluid.
Very much so. It's still early on. I mean, I'm a person who believes that more data is better than less data. So, even if it's not perfectly accurate, it's good to have, right? So, you have something to work. You have something to work toward, right? You can do these like prompt gap analysis with these tools and come up with some ideas, content ideas based on that as well. So we do a little bit of that. I also think tracking these prompts and the visibility over time is very tricky. And that's something that's really nice to have. Like, are you getting more visibility or less visibility over the last few months? Are your efforts paying off? And that's also really difficult for a lot of these tools to do well.
Yep, I'm personally not a fan of actually using it like for rank tracking or visibility tracking or however you call it, but it's been useful for product positioning, like finding all those misconceptions and where they're coming from, in the like price wise, position, like target audience wise, pain point wise.
Yeah, that's a great concept.
Yep.
Yeah, to be more like inward looking, right? Look at yourself as a company and see if it's accurate. And
So instead of like looking at the visibility score or whatever it's called between different solutions, it's kind of taking back one step back and looking at the actual picture of how you are being perceived, as well as in comparison to your competitors. So that's definitely been useful.
Yeah, you still have to have metrics, right? In an organization, you still have to have KPIs around these things. And I kind of like to make my KPIs in order of importance, right? Or in order of the journey. So I'll say we're building towards more citations and mentions, and that citations and mentions gets us referrals, and those referrals end up as conversions, right? And so that's kind of the way I'm measuring internally the success of our AI SEO, LLM SEO program. But again, it's not perfect, but
it's a learning curve.
It is, yeah, no, and you're right about the accuracy and looking inward. I think there's huge opportunities for that. There's one metric I've seen some tools show where it's like a scrape to referral ratio. So how often your pages get scraped to every time they get referred, or mentioned. So that's pretty interesting too, right? Like, are you getting the traffic from the bots on the page to actually be shown? And if not, right, like if you have a bad ratio there, like you can look at that page and say, let's improve it on for these ways, right?
It's interesting. Is it using log files, or how do they know what's being scraped?
I think some tools will use the log files and another tool will use their own data. Where I saw this the first was in a focus group for a tool that has not been released. So I don't want to say too much on this.
No, it's still interesting concept, because we just published a study from Ahrefs claiming that about 50% of retrieved URLs are getting cited. While it's still a mystery which of them is going to be influencing the answer, which of them is going to be cited. It's still a huge gap, and I'm not sure if it's going to get better. I guess that's something we have to live with for a while, for sure. And it's been a huge change for the SEO industry, going from something so easy to understand like rankings and clicks to something like, okay, we are seeing more branded searches. I guess something we did was right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, exactly right. Our brand traffic is up, our direct traffic is up.
But yeah, it's still attributing it exactly to something you did is absolutely not easy or even possible, because you kind of do a lot.
Yeah, but you and I know in SEO that's always been the case, right? Like the paid search team wants credit for more direct and brand traffic, and the organic social team wants that credit too. So yeah, there's always that tough attribution. Eventually, it all comes down to you guys doing the right things across the organization. So,
well,
yeah.
that is if we talk about internal teams. Luckily, as all of my life, I've been providing SEO services instead of being in-house, and I've been lucky to I'm an SEO. I don't care about what you're doing paid wise. But at this point of time, it is definitely challenging to speak about KPIs or attribution or things like that. And every other sales call will we will do everything right. Everything will be okay. But how exactly we're going to prove that, we will see.
Do you find, I've got a question for you, Anne. Do you find that it's harder now to be like an SEO focused person, like saying I'm here to just do your SEO, right?
Oh, it's
than ever, right? Because you have to work with so many more teams. So even now I'm working with like affiliate teams and things like that for SEO, which is,
it used to be an island, and I miss those times for sure, because now it has to be so much integrated in PR, social, Reddit, everything. And especially with geo, because you have to be aligned with everyone else and everything else. And working with those teams is always everyone gets so protective. Even if I'm more of a diplomat at this point than I've ever been, because I always make sure on calls with those teams, I will still first I will congratulate everyone on some great things they did, and then kind of go, okay, now we should also do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right way to work with these teams too. Like, hey, I know you guys just do your thing. I don't want to SEO everything. I think a lot of folks tend to think like SEOs see the world as like optimizing everything for SEO. But yeah, it's like the affiliates like, hey, you guys have your methodology for finding affiliate partners, and that's great. Here are some affiliate partners that are showing up for, prompts and terms that we would love to have some visibility on. Could you reach out to them? And a lot of times those guys will be cheaper affiliates too, but we can kind of get a win-win that way. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know if I don't like it or not, because I really do enjoy like optimizing for other platforms, like for Reddit or YouTube is super interesting, and all of those things are very very new.
Absolutely with you on that. It is good. This change is good. It's just challenging management wise. I'm not complaining that it is happening. I've always been very cross channel. I've always been about building communities before you invest in something else. So building something that you own, assets that you own, social media alignment. I've always been like that. It didn't have to be part of my client services job. That is the change that is still very much going through. But thank you so much. It was so interesting to hear about like being an SEO for huge websites. Cannot say I would be appreciate like I would like to be one. I cannot imagine protecting your work at every corner. It's I'm not so much of a talker, I would say, for that.
You'd be
Um,
surprised. You'd be surprised. The big companies are
I
usually
probably adjust, but it's not something I would be looking forward to for sure. I cannot make graphs that would justify my work, all of that, which is something I need to learn anyways. Thank you so much. Again, ask your questions on Reddit for Sam to answer tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow.
Yep. So you have time to ask your questions, vote for your favorite questions to bring them higher in our priority. And we will be there tomorrow on Reddit to answer. I mean, I will be watching Sam answering. So please join. It's a lot of fun to be part of our subreddit too. So join. And thank you so much again, Sam. Thank you,
Thank you.
April, for being with us. Sorry we didn't have time for any questions.
Yeah,
Otherwise, just
there's no questions in the comments, so we can get around to answering them sometime.
Yeah, we'll
in
go.
the comments.
So we'll answer everything in writing this time. We just had such a fun conversation.
It was fun listening.
Thank you so much, Sam, and see you next Wednesday, same time. Anybody.com where I am now. Give links to join, so please subscribe to be with us every Wednesday. Thank you and have a great week, everyone. April, you can
Bye, everyone.